So we're at that time of the off season where we're starting to see glimmers of what we can expect in F1 2021, with many teams giving us an indication of when we might be seeing basically a carbon copy of what we saw last year. But anyway, it's new and we like to get excited about that. But the question that is still on everyone's lips is, why hasn't Lewis Hamilton signed a contract yet? So to dive into a little bit why the reasons might be that it's taking so long to get to an agreement, I've got Johnny Noble and Ben Anderson along to take us through it. So basically, is it weird, guys, that we've had Mercedes give us a date to launch their car, but we're still waiting for one of their star drivers to be announced? Is that strange, or is it kind of to be expected considering where we are in the negotiations?
I think slightly strange, but not totally unexpected. I think we got a glimmer last year that the contract talks weren't going to be done in a matter of days. I think towards the end, Abu Dhabi Grand Prix Toto talked about we can wait till the eve of Bahrain testing. So they were talking about March. So sure, it's dragging on. There's lots of speculation, lots of people talking up theories when I'm sure they haven't spoken to Lewis nor Toto over the whole thing. I just think it's been a slow process, complicated by coronavirus, complicated by people not being able to meet each other, and basically two parties not in a particular rush to get it signed.
Speculation is a lot of fun though, isn't it? This kind of dead period, that's all we've got to cling to. So, theories that he might just walk away entirely, that Mercedes will be left without a driver in the second car. It's the whole time you get this lack of certainty over what's happening, it just fuels this idea that something monumental is just around the corner, whereas most likely, as John's alluded to, this is just a situation of circumstances derailing the usual process. One would expect that probably once we get to the Mercedes W12 or the W11B launch date, that's when probably Lewis will be unveiled as a Mercedes 2021 driver.
What do we think could be the main factors that are delaying this process?
I think you've got to look at the bigger picture of where Mercedes are at in Formula One. If we go back to the start of last year, lots of rumours that Mercedes could pull out, that they weren't necessarily going to stay, they weren't keen. But actually, Mercedes went through a big process to evaluate, did F1 tick all the boxes of sustainability, of it being attractive to fans, and most importantly, cost efficient. Road car manufacturers are bleeding money at the moment because of the coronavirus pandemic. The shift to electric road cars isn't business friendly and won't be for a few more years. So it needs to be efficiency. F1 comes under that budget. Costs are coming down. The cost cap has brought things down. But there's no point a team cutting down their budget to 145 million a year and laying off people and cutting everything back if they then have to spend another 40 on a driver over the 3-year period. So it all needs to fit into this big mesh. You've now got Ineos in as a shareholder. There's a potential salary cap coming in 2022 or 23. So I think it's finding a way that works to cover all these aspects of keeping the Mercedes budget in check, making sure Lewis, does get the recognition in terms of finances that he wants, but also the freedom to do what he wants, maybe some flexibility. Maybe he doesn't want to commit to 3 full years or want some get out, but Mercedes may want some stability. So I think it's just these little things to sort out. So don't think it can be viewed like a regular contract we've had in the past, like it's 2 years, it's going to be this much per year, tick, 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 lawyers sort it out, and we all go off. I think there's bigger issues at play here, but nothing that I sense of a huge conflict that's going to result in, one of them throwing the papers down on their Zoom call and storming off.
And of course, from Lewis's point of view, he's just become the most successful driver in Formula One history, bar none. So in his mind, his negotiating power has never been higher. And he certainly wouldn't be thinking, well, I deserve to take a pay cut. But at the same time, it doesn't really fit with the situation going on more widely. And also, he doesn't have any other options. This is the only team he can race for. The only thing he can do, apart from race for them, is walk away. So that leaves Mercedes in quite a strong position if they need to strong arm him a little bit on the terms, and whether it's money or some other freedoms, or there's ways of getting around the pure salary, those are probably the sort of curveballs they're having to throw around with each other to try and come to an amicable solution.
The other difficulty, I think, is that teams can't work out what their budget is going to be for this year. The COVID situation is, changing still day by day. I think with all these variants going around, the travel situation's looking maybe worse now than it was even last July when the season started. So there's tremendous uncertainty. We've got a calendar, quite ambitious calendar, but I think the chances of it playing out as it is pretty minimal. So teams took a massive prize money hit last year because of the shorter calendar. There isn't the money in the coffers anymore to pay these, multi-tens of £1 million salaries. And I think the worst, what Mercedes wouldn't want to do is commit to a big salary that Lewis deserves, then find the season's derailed, the money's not there, and this has to come out of their bottom line. So it could be a simple discussion that, if the season is running this much, you'll get paid this. But if we have to take some big money hits, we'd rather it came out of your wages than we have to give 20% salary cuts to those 2,000 people who are working to provide you with the fastest car.
Yeah, and of course, Mercedes have the biggest amount of work to do to adjust to the budget cap because they're the biggest team. And James Allison's talked about how actually you've got various other things going on in terms of technical regulations and tweaks and token systems and what have you that are occupying the engineering departments. But the biggest body of work for Mercedes has been the cost cap and how they deal with that. And that's just another distraction, isn't it? When you've got a salary negotiation or a driver contract to do on top of all that other work, it's difficult to devote the time needed to get it right. And you need as much time as possible to get it right. And I think that's why we're seeing really such a long delay to this process.
I think we've also seen as well, haven't we, that this is a scenario that Mercedes has been in before in terms of late driver negotiations. We saw it when Nico Rosberg smoke bombed after winning the previous World Championship in 2016. So they're no stranger to having to kind of cobble something together. Not that I think that is the situation that we find ourselves in now with Lewis, but is there something there where Mercedes are trying to potentially future-proof themselves so that they know what situation they're going to be in should Lewis decide to step away from Formula One?
I think they're well future-proofed anyway. It's been one of Toto's ambitions with the Young Driver Programme. It's why they've got George Russell in at Williams and Esteban Ocon in at Renault Alpine. They're viewed as the next generation of drivers if they need to bring someone up to Mercedes. I think the reality of the current Lewis situation is probably there's no urgency to get a deal done. If it was signed on January the 1st, or it was signed on the evening before the launch, or it's signed the evening before they have to turn up for scrutineering in Bahrain. It ultimately makes no difference. No one else is going to come in and take that seat. Lewis isn't going to go and race for anybody else. So there's no pressure outside the system forcing a quick decision. It's what we saw happen with Red Bull when they had to make a decision on Alex Albon. They knew Perez couldn't go anywhere else. There was no need to rush that decision. And I think we're seeing a similar thing now. So you've got no particular time pressure. Lewis having a break in Colorado. Toto was in Kitzbühel, catched coronavirus, so wasn't really in the picture. You're trying to arrange these big things over Zoom calls with lawyers on different time zones. It's not the same as being around a table and devoting a whole day to sorting a contract out. So I think it's circumstances a lot more of this than any kind of nefarious goings on in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. And from Lewis's point of view, he likes to be on this 2-year contract cycle. That's what we've seen during his time at Mercedes. That's what we'd expect he's looking to do again, I think, especially with then he gets a chance to see the new rules, how they play out in 2022, whether that's something he wants to be part of. He's consistently spoken about how he's not ready to step away, that he feels like there's more for him and Mercedes to achieve together. And I do feel like he wants to keep going to face the younger generation. He doesn't want to jump from Formula One before he's pushed out by quicker, younger drivers, and we haven't seen that yet. So while he's at the top of his game and he still feels like he's got much to offer, I think he'll come quite amicably to an arrangement to keep going for as long as he can.
When he had that chance after the Sakhir Grand Prix, if he was a man tired of Formula One and happy to let the new generation take over, he could have disappeared off and gone back to America.
And you mentioned it a little earlier, John, but when do we think the latest could be that we will see a Lewis Hamilton contract? Because we have had previous moments in history, quite strangely, where a world champion has been on a race-by-race contract, right? I mean, this was some time ago, but is that even a slight possibility? If they haven't agreed everything and crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, is that a potential avenue that they could go down? I
can't imagine it would get to that. I was reading this morning about Ayrton Senna in '93, and this was days before email and proper mobile phones. And there was a story about Indy Lal, their test team manager, they were testing at Silverstone, and Ron had to send a fax. This is the Wednesday before a race. Wanted to send a fax, which went to this office at Silverstone, and then it was in an envelope which he had to then give to Ayrton to try to get them to agree to the next race. So I don't think we're going to go to these kind of extremes, partly because no one's got a fax machine anymore.
No.
But I think the latest I think if the contract isn't signed and announced by launch date, then I think you'd have to start asking why have things not been sorted? Because you would expect Lewis to have at least been to the factory and to be in contact with the team. And then the reasons, but I would suspect this will all get announced either just before the launch or actually at the launch.
Yeah, it'd be very strange if they got to testing or the first race and we hadn't had a definitive announcement one way or the other. There's a big difference between the situation that Lewis finds himself in with Mercedes and the one Senna found himself in with McLaren. I mean, Senna was unhappy at the situation with that team and where things were going with their engine supply. He wanted to go to Williams. He couldn't get in there because Prost didn't want him as his teammate for understandable reasons. So there's a lot of politics swirling around an unhappy driver, whereas Lewis and Mercedes, I mean, they've never been better friends, have they? Everything's going perfectly for them. He's got a teammate he gets on with, he likes the atmosphere, he's achieving like he's never achieved before. So there's no reason to end up in a situation where you just want to see how it goes race by race. So they're either going to do the contract that we expect or there's going to be nothing. And we all expect there's going to be a deal. Come on.
Okay, so when are we going to put bets on then? When's bets on for a Lewis Hamilton contract announcement? Is Johnny, you're going for?
I go for launch week or launch day.
Are they really going to let Lewis outshine the W12 or the W11B?
W12. I think it's W12E Performance or something.
It is, yeah.
It's an old car though, isn't it, with a few new bits on it. So it's not really about the car. I think Lewis can quite safely upstage that. I don't think James Allison and et al. Are going to be too upset. Plus, they've actually said there's going to be Q&As with the drivers, plural. So we expect that Lewis will be on that remote call in a few weeks' time.
Okay, so that's when we're putting our bets on then. So launch week or launch week or launch day. Which one are we going for? Launch day?
Launch week, just before, because then you can get that noise out the way, and then maybe not overshadow the car and that particular event. So just before, maybe on the day, but maybe the day before.
The other thing, if I was Lewis and Toto, I'd actually quite enjoy trolling the entire world by getting the contract sorted and just seeing how long we can drag it out, and then just feeding these kind of blindsided stories to feed the frenzy and keep Mercedes in the newspapers.
So there you go. You've heard it here first. Our money is on a Lewis Hamilton contract announcement on or just before the 2nd of March when Mercedes reveal their 2021 contender, the W12. Do you agree with that prediction? Do you have predictions of your own? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed for more videos like this. And until then, thanks to John and to Ben, and we'll see you next time.